differences between native and non-native students is the legal drinking age. The legal drinking age in the United States is 21 years old, which is stricter compared to other countries because 86% of countries in the world has a legal drinking age lower than 21 years old. There are also some countries without a legal drinking age. Furthermore, some Islamic countries prohibited alcohol as it is forbidden in their religion. Lots of international students become underage suddenly when they step foot in the States.
Hi, I want to talk about the cultural difference about the disrespect between native students and non-native students. There are two aspects I want to talk about. It's the introduction of the disrespect and the main difference. 好难话. Firstly, I want to introduce what is disrespect. The disrespect can be separated in the three parts: the disrespect in the social life, and the academic disrespect, and the disrespect in family. The disrespect in social life is about the disrespect have happened in daily life among people when they contact with other people, no matter if they are familiar with other people, such as friends, business partners, customers, and waiters. Those disrespect are most general in our daily life, no matter how hard we avoid those disrespect. And the academic disrespect is about the disrespect happened a lot among students, instructors who have diverse cultural backgrounds. For example, of mine, email I sent to my professor, I used the wrong format and the title, so the professor thought it's disrespectful to him. And the disrespect in family happened a lot in Chinese families, which is about violating privacy, the attitude talking to your parents, and the traditional manners in China. However, I'm not familiar with the situation in American families, so I cannot give the general calculation. And the definition of disrespect is someone to act in isolating ways towards them. When you disrespect people, you think very little of them. There are three key words. The first one is think a little, second one is implied, and the third one is ignore cultures. Those are the main discrimination about disrespect. And why I chose the topic is because the culture difference, I met a lot of culture shocks about the respect and the disrespect in daily studies in campus. Some of them are very strange and unreasonable to an international student like me, and some of them have underlying meanings, which attracts me to observe and think about disrespect. And there are some examples I list on the screen. The part 2 is the main difference between the native students and the non-native students about the understanding of disrespect. Let me show two example. The first example is about disrespect from Chinese students. The first time I used elevator in America, there were many people in a small space, and I reached out to touch the button, which made people uncomfortable. And then I understand it's about the private space. Even in the public space, people always have their own private space. It's just like a circle surrounding them. And the example about American students confuse me is the action in the class. They're eating food, drinking, using mobile phones, talking when the lecturer is talking, putting leg on the back of chair are always disrespectful in China, but it's tolerable in America. And the conclusion about the main difference is the privacy, the respect to elder people, public respect, and the respect to lecturers. And there are some underlying cultures. The first one is tradition, the second one is individualism, and third one is equality, the fourth one is open. I want to show you this figure. It's about the individualism of different countries in the world. And this individualism can be separated to the four parts. You can see the American people have the most high level individualism in the whole world. And the equality is also an important reason for why Chinese students thought disrespectful. This equality is on the very average American's mind, and when the conversation or discussion began, they don't care about who is elder and who is more experimental, for they are all equal to each other. So they don't have to be afraid of being polite to ask questions without raising hand and standing up for the professor is expect an elder. However, the thinking of respecting elder people and protecting little kids is fundamental thinking in Chinese culture. The key word is open. And as we international students go abroad for the first time, we are not familiar with this country and the culture. Then we are shy to talk to people and we prefer to resolve the problems by ourselves. However, this thinking may cause us violating people's privacy, like reach out to take something but touch strangers' skin. And the open of Americans also cause some disrespect, such as reading your paper and licking their hand at the same time, which is always be seen as a disrespectful reaction. And that's all. Luan.
To talk about first year experience, difference between native student and non-native student, and my presentation specifically focused in dorm. I have categorized my presentation into 4 categories, and the first category is about expression, the way people express themselves. Now, the first aspect I want to focus on is roommate agreement. How so? Roommate agreement almost never happen in China, but in America, we are asked to sign for it. I take it as a difference between natives and non-natives in the way they express their preference. In China, we encounter roommate doing something we are not comfortable with, but not so unbearable. We usually accept that. Sometimes we complain about it to others, but not to that roommate. While roommate agreement is a way to explicitly express what kind of behavior one can accept and what kind of behavior one cannot. The second aspect I want to focus on is about music. Music is definitely a great way to express someone's feelings and emotions. Listening to music is part of nearly everyone's life. Yet, living here made me see a completely new way of playing it. Just play it. What does this mean? The guy living in the next room of mine play the music out loud with door open every Saturday. And people are used to it. Though I'm not judging listening music loud and clear from next door, it's really a brand new way for me. Well, the second category I want to focus on is about nighttime. Speaking of nighttime, the first word came into my mind is parties. For me, nighttime is for personal stuffs. Of course, it doesn't mean I don't do anything fun, but of course I will. But what I usually do is stay at dorm and do things I like, specifically for me. For example, watching movies or playing games online. While native students seem prefer more in doing things together and have fun. In my tower, there usually will be movies night, Harry Potter's night, which is my favorite, and besides this, friends will just meet at night and simply talk. Well, the third the third aspect I want to focus on is publicity. Well, this is probably the main things I never understand. Some of the native students are used to let the door open when they are inside of the dorm, of course. It is the RA's idea to set up friendship with people in the same building, but won't that be awkward and uncomfortable? You are either going to prepare to show your personal life in front of every one of you, just don't even have personal spaces, even at your own dorm. To me, it is totally strange. My head is full of questions like that. There is instance of natives not doing that, but none of the non-natives have ever doing that ever. The last aspect I want to focus on is about roommate relationship. What about roommate relationship? When I came to roommate relationship, for people from where I live, no talking is really strange and will be considered as a sign of not comfortable staying with each other. No talking between roommates is something that will never happen even when they really hate each other. Yet for natives it seemed to be possible to happen, sometimes even considered as a sign of personal spaces. So that is the four aspect I want to talk about when it came to difference between non-native student and native students in dorm.
In my part, I will introduce different behaviors in class between native students and our non-native students. In the United States, this cross-cultural country, I will experience different cultures. So I want to introduce something special that I have seen in the past 2 months in the new country while in class. One part I want to talk is native students' behavior in class. It was so surprised to see students wearing slippers, cracking foods, answering without standing up, and many other things that make me so amazing. First is dressing. Do you see the slippers? I always confused about why Nike brand sells such slipper with amazingly high price. Then when I got first class in American, I knew the answer. In the United States, professors allow students to dress up in whatever they want, also like sports vest above. Next is the drinking and eating. Once I took my class, a girl cracking chips. There's this one just beside me. She really bothers me, but I can't see anything because professor didn't see anything. I think fruit and beverage are acceptable, but I'm now in American university. I had better get involved. And also, the relationship between students and professor is a big difference to our non-native students in our country. For example, in China, so they always answering and asking questions without standing up, and calling professor's name just make so close. The relationships is so close, and then going out of class without asking professor for permission and do whenever they want. So the second I want to talk about is our non-native students. Under the negotiation by student union in my high school, I have chance not to wear school suits like this one on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So obviously, it is not allowed to wear slippers and sports suits except PE class. And also drinks. We're only allowed to drink water, like this one, just the water in class. And the relationship high power is a high power distance in our China. Students respect their teachers. It is not suitable to call teacher's name. So you can see this. Just like we need to respect teachers, they have higher status than us, than ours. So that's all. I hope you get a good and interesting view and clearly know about the special experience in my first year, and I make sure that I tell you the true differences make you feel interested in. Thank you.